Director of Investor Relations at Dickinson, and I'll be moderating our call today. So joining us from the management of VGL Limited is Mr. Jaimin Gupta, Chairman and Managing Director. Please note that this conference is being recorded and that some statements in this call may be forward-looking, based on current expectations, and subject to risks that could cause results to differ materially. I'll now hand the conference over to Jaimin to begin with opening remarks. Over to you, Jaimin.
Okay, thank you so much, Ankini. So I hereby welcome everyone on this Varvee Analyst call, and thank you everyone for attending this call. So I'll start with the introduction. So who am I, and how are we here with Varvee? So basically, I'm an MBA in finance, and I started my career almost 12 years back with textile industry itself. So in 2015, I started my retail brand by the name Barcelona. तो हमने बार्सिलोना ब्रांड शुरू किया था विद फोकस कि हम मेंस वेयर को कैटर करेंगे. वो उसमें हमने 2025 तक, मतलब इन दिस 10 years जर्नी, वी हैव ऑलमोस्ट लॉन्च्ड 125 stores and we are clocking a revenue of more than 200 CR. So this was an existing business which I was doing before the acquisition of Varvee. So ये हमारा एक retail brand था, pan India presence है, और already हमारा बहुत अच्छा customer base था in the menswear category. So I had a good understanding of the textiles, garments in this 10 years journey of my Barcelona. Along with this, I was also supplying garments and fabrics to many different brands. We were taking wholesale orders. We were doing multiple things. We were supplying to the big retail outlets. So ये सारी चीजों ने मुझे बहुत अच्छा रिटेल के अंदर एक एक्सपोजर दिया, टेक्सटाइल की एक बहुत डीप अंडरस्टैंडिंग दी, हाउ गारमेंट्स आर मेड, हाउ दे आर सोल्ड एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ फैब्रिक्स आर टू बी मेड. डिजाइनिंग के ऊपर एक कंट्रोल बनाया. सो इस तरह से ये लास्ट 10 years में आई गॉट अ गुड ग्रिप ओवर द होल टेक्सटाइल बिजनेस. Then in 2024 September, we got this opportunity of acquiring Varvee Denims and Exports Limited. Varvee Denims used to be India's fourth largest denim manufacturing company. They had a capacity of 35 million meters in denim fabrics and almost 18 million meters in non-denim capacity. So because I was already having a good exposure about fabrics, customer base, understanding about the production processes and everything, I thought this could be a good acquisition. And the company had a very huge plant in Narol. So it was a very strategic acquisition initially from my point of view. So in September 2024 we did the deal, and almost in July it took us 8 to 9 months to complete the whole process, the whole takeover process and everything. So the acquisition was backed by my internal accruals, by my family funds and some investors. So through this we acquired the whole factory. So we acquired the whole company actually, along with the premises, the factory and everything. And so yeah, so this was the acquisition process. Then in July 2025, our whole acquisition process was completed, and finally we were onboarded as a board of directors. So technically we got the physical possession of the factory in July 2025. Then after July 2025 we started the production process. So initially हमारा फोकस ये था कि हम कैसे फैक्ट्री को 100% ऑपरेशनल कर सकते हैं. तो हमने 3 महीने फुल फ्लैज उसके अंदर वर्किंग्स की, सारे मशीन्स को रिवैम्प किया एंड एवरीथिंग वी डिड. ये सारा प्रोसेस करने के बाद व्हाट वी फिगर्ड आउट कि डेनिम का मार्केट आगे जाके इतना एक्सपेंशन मोड में नहीं है. सो आई थॉट कि डेनिम में मे बी पॉसिबिलिटी है कि हम उतना स्केल ना कर पाए. बट नॉन डेनिम जो कैटेगरी है, जिसके अंदर सारी प्रोडक्ट रेंज कवर होती है, शर्ट्स, कॉटन पैंट्स, फॉर्मल पैंट्स, ट्राउजर्स, ये सारी प्रोडक्ट्स का फैब्रिक्स जितना भी आता है, इवन इन द लेडीज वेयर, एवरीवेयर. So this can be manufactured and these are termed as a non-denim fabrics. So I thought let's pivot to the non-denim segment. Initial stage पे अगर हम ये pivot कर लेते हैं तो जो फैक्ट्री को 100% ऑपरेशनल करना इजी रहेगा, प्लस we can achieve good numbers. So that's why what we thought is कि जो 35 million मीटर डेनिम की कैपेसिटी है उसको हम कम करके 5-10 मिलियन पे ले आएंगे, 8-10 मिलियन के आसपास रखेंगे, एंड जो नॉन डेनिम है उसको 18 मिलियन से 50-60 मिलियन लेके जाएंगे. यूजुअली क्या होता है, ये कैपेसिटी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन में there is no heavy capex required. It is a normal machinery changes and some technical specifications to be changed in the machinery. Rest everything is almost same. So um, uh, जो पूरा प्रोसेस है फैक्ट्री का, जिसमें वी हैव द होल कंपोजिट प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस फ्रॉम yarn टू रेडी फैब्रिक, दिस इज ऑलरेडी देयर इन द कंपनी. सो व्हाट वी डिड, हमने डेनिम्स 7-8 लाख मीटर पर मंथ ही बनाना स्टार्ट किया. नॉन डेनिम हमने पूरा 18 लाख मीटर बनाना स्टार्ट कर दिया. एंड देन अभी हम ये जो कैपेसिटी है इसको ड्राइव कर रहे हैं नॉन डेनिम को डेनिम को नॉन डेनिम की तरफ. तो ग्रेजुअली ये कैपेसिटी बढ़ती जाएगी. सो सपोज 1 जनवरी से व्हाट वी आर लुकिंग एट इज अ 30 मिलियन प्रोडक्शन, मतलब 30 लाख मीटर पर मंथ का प्रोडक्शन फ्रॉम द नॉन डेनिम सेगमेंट. एंड देन फिर 1 अप्रैल से 50 लाख मीटर का. So this is how we have planned the production will start. So in next 2 quarters, 3 quarters, the plan would be to make the factory 100% operational. Yeah. So this is about the whole factory and everything, how we are looking at. Now coming to our customer base and market. So usually what happens in this, we are currently focused only on domestic market. सो ये जो पूरा नॉन डेनिम का मार्केट है ये मोस्टली ड्रिवन बाय नॉन ऑर्गेनाइज्ड प्लेयर्स है. एंड ऑर्गेनाइज्ड प्लेयर्स में ब्रांड्स आ गए, सारे डोमेस्टिक के बड़े इंस्टीट्यूट्स आ गए. मोस्टली इट इज ड्रिवन बाय नॉन ऑर्गेनाइज्ड प्लेयर्स. सो वी टर्म देम एज होलसेलर्स. सो ये जो होलसेलर्स होते हैं ये सारा अभी हमारे लिए कस्टमर बेस है. मेरे ऑलरेडी 8-9 साल के रेफरेंसेस थे इतने सारे. वी हैड अ गुड कस्टमर बेस. वी न्यू everyone in the market. So it was easy for us to bring the customers. And initially what we are targeting is, जब तक फैक्ट्री 100% नॉन डेनिम पे ऑपरेशनल नहीं होती हम जॉब वर्क करेंगे. सो जॉब वर्क में क्या होता है, द कस्टमर इटसेल्फ गिव्स यू द yarn or say the fabric. You only do the process of dyeing, printing, finishing or weaving, and then you give the fabric. सो दिस इज वेरी, मतलब इससे क्या है, आप फैक्ट्री को एक बार 100% ऑपरेशनल कर सकते हो क्योंकि काम मिलना आसान है. सो मार्केट से जॉब वर्क का काम बहुत इजीली मिल जाता है. सो वी आर फोकसिंग ऑन दैट राइट नाउ कि जॉब वर्क करके हम एक बार फैक्ट्री को 100% ऑपरेशनल करें, फिर उसके बाद हम थोड़ा थोड़ा सेल्फ का काम स्टार्ट करके ब्रांड्स को सप्लाई करेंगे, एक्सपोर्ट्स पे फोकस करेंगे, वो सारी चीजें करेंगे. बट दैट विल बी लेटर वंस वी डू द फैक्ट्री 100% ऑपरेशनल. If we do job work of 50 to 60 lakh meters per month, we can easily achieve a turnover of 200 CR through job work, which is a very good number. So technically, 200 CR of job work revenue or say 800 CR of fabric revenue, दोनों में अगर आप कंपेयर करो तो मार्जिन 200 CR के रेवेन्यू में ज्यादा है, बिकॉज वी आर ओनली डूइंग द सर्विस पार्ट काइंड ऑफ, जो सिर्फ पूरा प्रोसेस है वही हम लोग कर रहे हैं. सेकेंड, कैश फ्लो साइकिल बहुत अच्छे से मैनेज होता है बिकॉज योर क्रेडिट्स आर वेरी लिमिटेड. योर डेटर क्रेडिटर सिक्योरिटी इज वेरी हाई, डेटर सिक्योरिटी इज वेरी हाई बिकॉज उनका पीछे माल पड़ा होता है, कपड़ा पड़ा होता है. सो बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स है जिसके बेस पे हमने ये डिसीजन लिया है कि विल स्टिक टू जॉब वर्क ओनली फॉर नाउ. So yeah, so this is about Varvee, how we acquired, and then how we'll be planning to do the production and everything. So even if we see our quarter 2 numbers, so quarter July we came on board and then we started the factory immediately. So quarter 2 के अगर हम numbers देखें, हमने almost 28 CR का revenue achieve किया था और उसमें हमारा EBITDA margin was almost 50%. This is mainly because जो जो जॉब वर्क का काम होता है, जहाँ पे प्रोसेस होता है, वहां पे योर कॉस्ट्स आर ओनली ऑफ कलर, केमिकल एंड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी और से लेबर, एंड ओनली दिस इज योर कॉस्ट. द रॉ मटेरियल कॉस्ट इज नॉट देयर. सो आवर EBITDA margins are very good, and we'll be focusing the same way down the line for next 2 to 3 quarters. So now coming to that part also, EBITDA जो हमारा 50% है, उसके बाद हमारा पैट भी जो है वो भी उसी लाइन में चल रहा है. उसका मेन रीजन ही है. सो टेक्सटाइल्स का है ना, सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या होता है कि कोई भी कंपनी टेक्सटाइल्स में EBITDA तो एक बार अच्छा अचीव कर लेती है, लेकिन EBITDA से पैट की जर्नी बहुत खराब होती है बिकॉज द लोन्स आर वेरी ह्यूज, डेप्रिसिएशन कॉस्ट लग रहा है, इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट इज वेरी हाई, एंड देन द टैक्सेशन पार्ट. सो यहाँ पे वारवी के पास एक एज कहाँ आता है कंपेयर टू एनी अदर टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री, टेक्सटाइल कंपनी, इज दैट द कंपनी इज अ डेट फ्री कंपनी. So this point actually highlights the strength also of the company's financials. The company has a zero debt on the books, so the bank has been repaid. So as per our acquisition, we paid off all the bank loan. So as on date, the company's assets are completely free from any liability. So company is not having any interest cost. तो interest cost zero हो गया. डेप्रिसिएशन कॉस्ट बहुत मिनिमल लग रहा है बिकॉज द बुक्स पे मशीनरी इज ऑलरेडी डेप्रिशिएट हो गई है विद इन दिस टाइम एंड देर इज अ कैरी फॉरवर्ड लॉस, सो द टैक्सेशन कॉस्ट इज नॉट देयर. तो ये तीनों फैक्टर्स की वजह से जो इबिटा है वही पैट में कन्वर्ट हो जा रहा है. In normal course, if I am operating at 50% EBITDA margin, my PAT would have been 15%. But because I am not having this three costs, so my EBITDA is again the PAT. तो EBITDA मार्जिन 49% के आसपास है, पैट मार्जिन हमारा ऑलमोस्ट 35 to 40% के आसपास रहेगा. एंड ये मार्जिन हमारे रहेंगे, इसी तरह के मार्जिन रहेंगे अगले 2-3 क्वार्टर्स तक. उसके बाद थोड़ा सा इफेक्ट आ सकता है बिकॉज स्केल करेंगे, फिर वो परमानेंट मार्जिन रहेंगे जो हम सेल्फ का काम करेंगे. बट इवेंचुअली उससे टर्नओवर बढ़ जाएगा, जो मार्जिन कम होगा टर्नओवर बढ़ेगा, तो जो पैट है वो तो उससे बेटर ही आएगा जो अभी हम लोगों ने Q2 या हम Q3 में देने वाले. सो या, सो दिस इज अबाउट द कंपनी. Now, how we see this company as is, so when I did the acquisition of RV Denims, this was only a textile company. The company was operating, not operating at its full capacity because the old promoters had their own issues with finances and everything. So when we acquired this company, when I personally acquired, I with my this 9 to 10 years of textile industry experience, I knew one thing, that if I do job work and if I work only in the non denim category, I can create good numbers. I can really make good profits. So with that goal, I acquired. Acquisition के बाद हमने ये रियलाइज किया कि हम इसको और भी बड़ा कर सकते हैं विथ थिंकिंग विद अ वेरी ब्रॉडर विजन. सो जो हमारे एग्जिस्टिंग बिजनेसेस है लाइक स्टिच टेक्सटाइल्स लिमिटेड विच इज अ बार्सिलोना ब्रांड और द अदर यार्न ट्रेडिंग बिजनेसेस, वो सारे बिजनेसेस से ये काफी बड़ा हो सकता है बिकॉज ऑफ द स्केल it can have. And the premises, it has a 60,000 square yard land, so there's a huge premise to scale the capacity to up to 80-90 lakh meters per month. इतना scale करने का, we have the pollution permission as well, so वो भी एक advantage है इसके अंदर. Now, तो when we acquired this company, the goal was only to keep it as a textile company, but abhi lastly what we have realized, we want to make it an enterprise company, not just limited to a textile company. That is how the name change also came into place. So previously it was Denims and Exports Limited. Now we have made it Varvee Global Limited. So the name change clearly reflects that we will be focusing on many other different verticals. Maybe we enter into different industries as well. And so down the line, 3 to 5 years, this company might turn out to be an enterprise company having many other verticals in itself, and not just limited to a textile company. For the next 3 to 4 quarters, we will be focusing only on making this company 100% operational with its production capacity and trying to get good internal accruals, which can then be further invested to enter into different verticals. So yeah, this is about the company, Shankini. Anything else you would want me to brief if I forgot something?
No, I think that was great and very comprehensive. So, what
Right.
we'll do now is we'll open the floor for some questions. I'll just remind our participants, if you'd like to ask a question, this is how you'd raise your hand to join the question queue. If you're on desktop or laptop, look for the reactions button at the bottom of the Zoom window. Click on it, then select raise hand from the options. Your name will appear in the queue and I will call on you. If you're on mobile or tablet, tap on the more ... button at the bottom right of your screen, then select raise hand from the menu. Perfect. So we'll start with some written questions that our participants have submitted, Jemin. So the
Right.
first question is submitted from the line of Vivek Sharma. So Vivek is asking, if Q2 performance is showing good 50% EBITDA margin, is this repeatable or one-off?
So I mentioned this in my conversation also, Shangini. So basically, जो हमारा EBITDA margin है 50% का, वो continuous रहेगा because हम लोग job work कर रहे हैं. मतलब any investor would have a very clear cut thought process that how is it possible a textile company getting a 50% EBITDA margin compared to any other peer. But this is because we are only doing job work. I'll tell you in very short what is job work and what is self. So कोई भी company textile का होता है, what they do is they buy yarn, they manufacture the whole fabric and then supply. So 50 रुपए का यान खरीदा, पूरा प्रोसेस किया, 150 रुपीज में उस फैब्रिक को बेचा. हम यहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हैं, वो 50 रुपए का यान कस्टमर ही बेचता है, दे डोंट बिल अस। हम
Hmm.
सिर्फ 70-80 रुपीज का जो भी कन्वर्जन रेट है हम वो चार्ज कर रहे हैं, एंड देन वी गिव द फैब्रिक बैक टू द कस्टमर। सो जो रॉ मटेरियल का जो पूरा कॉस्ट है वो यहाँ पे लग ही नहीं रहा है, इसीलिए हमारे EBITDA मार्जिन आए। सो यस, दिस कुड श्रिंक टू maybe below approx 40 to 45%, but not below that. So this will be a continuous margin rates anywhere between 45 to 50%.
Thanks for that, Jaimin. That was very valuable. And I think we have a follow up as well. So the follow up question is, what exactly, can you give us more detail of what exactly changed post acquisition? And what are the 4 to 5 moves that are driving our reset? And how do you see them giving us material benefits in the near term?
So mainly the previous promoters who were operating the factory, they were stuck with the finance part. So they couldn't manage and they were having a huge interest costs. So it was not practically viable for them also to run the factory. So after the acquisition, what we have done is, firstly, we
Hmm.
are not having any bank liability, so our interest cost is not there. That gives us an edge to operate the factory at lower margins. So this is one factor. Second, we have done some serious technological and machinery changes. Machinery
Hmm.
changes from denim to non-denim category. So we have shifted the product itself. The previous management used to sell denims. We are selling shirts and cotton pants. So the product differentiation itself has created the this posting of good numbers. So mainly when we pivoted from the original core product, this was one good thing which the team and we have done very well. Second is we did some technological changes, the ERP integration, real time data analysis. So
Hmm.
we have done all of that. We have implemented the ERP in the whole production process, giving us live data. So what happens is we can achieve the maximum output with this and avoid any irrational losses in production. So this is which makes sure that we are constant with our margins. Third, we are purchasing. Our purchasing has improved. We are purchasing in cash. So in cash means on 7 days, 15 days payment. So which gives us a very good edge over the margins. In textile, anyone who's purchasing on a 60-day credit will get a 5 to 7% discount who's purchasing on 15-day credit. So that's a clear term in the market. We have infused that funds from our own self, and we have made sure that margins remain with the company despite our cash flow being more involved in the business. So this 3-4 changes have eventually resulted in achieving this margins.
Thanks, Jamin. So we have another written question and we see some hands raised as well. So I'll just take this written question first. The question is from Mr. Vikram Suryavanshi. Jamin, what is total capital expenditure for conversion of capacity? What is our revenue per meter?
So basically जो नॉन डेनिम से नॉन डेनिम का जो कन्वर्जन आएगा ना, that won't require more than capex of more than 10 CR. एंड जो 10 CR का जो कैपेक्स भी लगेगा, that will be received from selling of the not required machines. So there won't be any infusion of new fund for driving this change. That can be done from the internally available machines itself, selling some machines, buying some new machines. ठीक है, so anyone who has a deep understanding of this machinery or textiles can evaluate how it can be done without infusing any funds. So for this transition, we are not infusing any funds. It won't be required. Second, on the per meter, so what happens is if we do the whole process, we buy the yarn and then we sell the fabric, the revenue book per meter would be approx 200 rupees. But if we do only job work part, the revenue booked would be only 70 to 80 rupees per meter. So if we consider ourselves as we would be doing only job work, we can expect a revenue booking of 70 to 80 rupees per meter with this non-denim category.
Thanks, Jamin. We'll take a question from a participant now. The participant asking a question is from the line of Sneha Singh. Sneha, you can unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your questions.
Good evening, everybody. This is Neha here. I'm an individual investor. I have a couple of questions. My first question is, What exactly changed operationally post acquisition? What are the 4-5 moves that drove the reset?
So, as I mentioned, Sneha previously, also the post acquisition, the major changes which came were the operational expertise of running a factory, kind of. So, having purchases on the right credit terms at good pricing, having a good team on the production floor, taking care of the previous management didn't have the live data analysis as well of the production process. So we made sure that we invested the money at the right place to make sure that we save margins at each point, at the production point, at the costing point, at the sales point. So we post acquisition, the implementation of such steps has resulted into achieving these margins. So revenue achievement in this segment is not a big deal. If I say I'm doing job work, my production capacity is 20 lakh meters per month, so I'll easily get that business. But to make sure that I achieve the EBITDA and PAT margin, we have to implement this all of this, that you don't do production loss, you don't do heavy costing buying, your sales should be at the good pricing, your overall management of the to make sure that there's no production value loss, XYZ things. So implementation in the right way of all of these things resulted in achievement of good EBITDA margins, and not focusing on the denim category. So if we would have focused on the denim category itself, it is might be possible that we would have also not achieved these numbers. We are focusing on non-denim category, and non-denim category has a very huge market because it covers all the products. So shirts, cotton pants, even ladies wear, all the products are covered under the non-denim category. So this is the main reason.
Sure.
Post acquisition, we were able to achieve these numbers.
Okay, I have another question. If you scale non-denims, what happens to the margins? Do they hold or improve or normalize?
So the margins which we have posted in quarter two, that will be the margins itself that will remain constant for the next 2 to 3 quarters. Might be possible once we scale, our margins might shrink to 5 to 7% on the EBITDA side. But overall, as I mentioned earlier, also the EBITDA to PAT journey. So our PAT will always be good compared to any other textile company because of the advantages we are having in the part of interest, depreciation, and taxation.
Right. So I just have one last question. The cash appears, low versus profitability. What is the conversion plan and working capital strategy?
So as we are doing job work, Sneha, the cash flow cycle is matlab the working capital is not much required because your only investment comes into the raw materials of color, chemicals, and coal. Matlab the whole value chain, from the whole value chain point of view, your investment in the raw material is very limited because the core raw material is itself supplied by the customer to get the job work done. And for us to achieve 100 cr of revenue annually, the working capital cycle is not required more than 15 to 20 cr, which we have initially infused in the company. And from 100 to 200, we might be looking for a for a CC or something. We might go with the bank, but we always have that availability of going to the bank because currently the bank debt is zero. So even if we are in a cash, even if the company requires cash, or even if the company requires working capital to scale the big business, the company has a banking facility available at any time. They can avail that.
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for your questions, Neha. Thanks for your answers, Chairman. We have some written questions come in from the line of Pritesh Vora. So, Pritesh wants to know more about how the change in management occurred and what we're doing about debt. And looking at the debt pattern over the last 2 year frame, he'd like you to comment on that, uh, as well as talking about the terms and conditions of the company acquisition, and what your intentions are for the near term.
So originally the company, the original promoters were in huge debt with this company. So the debt was of more than about 300 crores. And so that was settled by the old promoters itself. It was not settled, it was fully paid up by the old promoters itself from their internal accruals or maybe some of the other assets which were the company had. So that was part of the old management. When we took over, as per our deal, the bank debt had to be we had a limited bank debt which we had to take over, and that debt also was repaid by us as from our internal accruals, so infusing into the company and then paying it to the bank. So as on date, the bank debt is zero. We can't discuss more on the previous debt because that was handled all by the previous management. And the new management came in July 2025. So the new management came as per our SPA, which was signed in September, and the SPA is also available on the public domain. So as per the exchange filings. So yeah, so this is how we came into the management.
Thanks, Chairman. And Pritesh, if you have any more follow-ups, you can write in your questions. We'll take a question from the line of our participant Dharmesh Pawar. Dharmesh, you can go ahead and unmute your line and ask your questions. Hi, Dharmesh. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. I think he's having some trouble with his audio. So we will move on to some more written questions in the meantime. So what is our spinning capacity, Chairman? Can you go through in detail actually what our weaving, spinning and processing capacity is?
So we don't have spinning as on date within the company. Our core starts with the weaving part. So spinning basically produces yarn, and then yarn is supplied to the weaving department. That weaving department produces the fabric, raw fabric, and then it goes to the process department where it is dyed, finished, printed, XYZ, and supplied. So the company doesn't have any spinning plant, and we do not even intend to go into that division because we feel that when we are doing job work, so the raw material has to be supplied by the customer itself. So we don't have to infuse any money or we don't have to look into that segment. Spinning is basically the production of yarn. So yarn is our raw material, and we won't be going into spinning anytime. For the weaving, the company has a production capacity of 30 to 35 lakh meters per month.
Thanks, Chairman. So I think Dharmesh Power has informed us that he would like to ask his question now. Dharmesh, you can unmute your line and go ahead and ask your question.
Am I audible now correctly?
Yes, please go ahead.
My question is regarding our future plans. What is your capex plan to scale denim or non-denim, and how would you plan to fund it? Are you willing to raise any further equities or debt?
So we will be focusing on नॉन डेनिम ओनली. डेनिम पे हमारा इतना फोकस नहीं है. डेनिम हमारा 5 लाख मीटर का जो कैपेसिटी होगा, 5 से 8 लाख मीटर, 8 मे बी 8-10 लाख मीटर हम उतना ही रखेंगे. बाकी हमारी पूरी कैपेसिटी को हम नॉन डेनिम पे शिफ्ट करेंगे. हमने ऑलमोस्ट करना स्टार्ट कर दिया है. ठीक है, तभी हमारा 1 जनवरी से जो नॉन डेनिम है उसका कैपेसिटी 30 लाख मीटर्स हो जाएगा और 1 अप्रैल से इट विल टर्न एनीवेयर बिटवीन बी 50 to 60 लाख मीटर्स. सो इसमें आई प्रीवियसली ऑल्सो मेंशन धर्मेश जी, there is no requirement of infusing any funds. The machineries जो इसको चेंज करने में, so weaving machineries are to be kept same. If you manufacture denim, non-denim, anything you manufacture, weaving machine same होती है. छोटे मोटे चेंजेस होते हैं. मेनली जो मशीन में चेंज आता है वो डाइंग और प्रिंटिंग साइड पे आता है. तो उसके लिए जो एग्जिस्टिंग डेनिम की डाइंग प्रिंटिंग मशीन है वो सेल होके नई नॉन डेनिम की डाइंग और प्रिंटिंग की मशीन आ जाएगी. वहां पे कहीं पे भी नया कैपिटल इन्फ्यूजन रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं आएगा. मशीन्स में कुछ छोटे मोटे चेंजेस करने, तो उसके लिए जो भी मतलब इट इज काइंड ऑफ अ मेंटेनेंस कॉस्ट विच द कंपनी विल बेयर. दैट वोंट बी मोर देन 4 to 5 CR. The maintenance cost part that actually the company will have to bear. The rest cost would be the rest cost would be the rest cost all would be from the existing machinery itself.
Okay, understood. I have one more follow-up question for you. customer concentration and credit risk related. How diversified is the customer base and what guardrails exist to avoid WC hurdles, working capital hurdles?
So as on date also if we look जो अभी हमने चालू किया है तो there's no not a single customer with more than 15% of the current sales. So if we see we have a very diversified customer base. मतलब अभी भी हमारे पास almost there are 25 to 30 customers who are doing production in our factory. सिंगल कस्टमर पे एक दो जो बड़े हैं उनका 15% तक होगा, 12-15% के आसपास. बाकी मेजरली सब 5-7% का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन होगा per single customer. So it is a very diversified in the customer point of view, and we are very much clear कि हम कोई भी customer में 15% ज़्यादा का concentration नहीं create करेंगे. So that is clear from our end. So second question, Dharmesh, I didn't get your second question.
This was regarding the working capital. Do you see any stress on working capital? Or what are
So
the
I think we don't require any working capital up to 100 CR revenue. Post that we might require working capital to achieve a turnover of 200 CR, which we are targeting from the first quarter financial year 26. So 26/7. So for that we have this banking facility available that we can take anytime because currently the zero bank facility. So if required, we might take a banking facility of anywhere between 20 to 30 CR.
That's very good. That's all from my end. Thank you.
Thanks for your questions, Dharmesh, and thanks, Jamin, for answering. Jamin, we have a written question in from the line of Dhruv Sheth. So Dhruv wants to know, I would say on the whole, what is our vision, say for the next 5 years for Varvee Global Limited, and what can investors look forward to?
So, as I mentioned earlier also, the company RV Denims and Exports Limited had a market image that it's a textile company. After our acquisition, we have made it clear within our team, within our stakeholders, that this won't be a textile company any longer. Maybe for a year, it might look like that our revenues are only coming from the textile segment. But down the line, if we talk about 5 years, the goal is very simple. We have to make this an enterprise company where the company has many other verticals under it, maybe into the infrastructure sector, maybe into the renewable energy sector, maybe into chemical sector, because all the materials which are being procured by us can always be backwardly integrated within our company itself. The company has a huge space, and so once for the first year, if we achieve the good numbers as we are forecasting from the textiles and we have good internal accruals, we will be further investing this in backward integration of different auxiliaries. Maybe it can be a chemical, maybe it can be a machinery, so anything. So down the line, every year, if we keep growing ourselves with different verticals, with different industries, after 5 years, the company might be an enterprise company having multiple businesses, having multiple revenue segments. So I personally have the vision of creating it as an enterprise company, not a textile company.
That's very interesting, Jamin. Thanks for sharing your vision. And I think we have one question that's coming in as writing from the line of Rakesh G. So Rakesh wants to know, can you give us more insight on tailwinds? Can you tell us more about macro tailwinds and how we plan to capitalize on them?
So usually textile industry में जो tailwinds आते हैं that are more seasonals, kind of like जब फेस्टिवल्स आते हैं तब थोड़ा सा मार्केट में बूम होता है और उस तरह के टेलविंड्स होते हैं. तो यूजुअल केसेस में बीइंग अ मैन्युफैक्चरर वी कैन नॉट ऑलवेज कैपिटलाइज द टेलविंड, बिकॉज जब बेयर मार्केट होता है तब भी ऑल्सो वी नीड द सपोर्ट ऑफ आवर कस्टमर्स to make sure the factory is running. So as a long standing point of view, if we see, we cannot act as if 2 quarters are very good, 3 quarters are not good, 2 quarters are not good. It is not going to be like that with us. We will be more focused on a inline and consistent targets and consistent numbers. So this would be the focus. Then after, when there is a tailwind in the whole industry, maybe we can see that way, that if there's a deal announcement between India and US, so this might be a tailwind movement for the industry itself, because we have huge exports to European and US markets. So if this happens, the trade deal happens, then there could be a tailwind situation in the industry. We can easily capitalize that through. It is very simple for us, because once we have the raw material in our factory for next 2 to 3 months, so हमारा अगर प्रोडक्शन 2-3 महीने के लिए फुल है, तो हम ऑब्वियसली प्रीमियम चार्ज करेंगे जब हम 4th मंथ 5th मंथ का प्रोडक्शन आउटपुट ले रहे हैं आज की डेट में. सो जब वो सेगमेंट आता है, जब वो टेलविंड आती है, तब वी सी अ स्पाइक ऑफ 10 to 15% इन अवर pricing, and that usually happens, say 1 or 2 months in a year, or say a quarter in 4 to 5 quarters. So yeah, we will be doing that with increasing our pricing once we see a tailwind sector. For anything else, like increasing the expansion, doing increasing the capacity or doing the expansion, that is not something we are looking right now, because we already have a good capacity that we are pivoting from denim to non-denim. And later on, we will be looking to enter into different other industries rather than just scaling this industry.
Thanks, Jamin. And can you also tell us a little bit about the team that is working under you and is part of the new Varvee Global brand and initiative?
So with us right now, we have two main people who have joined us. There's Mr. Tarak Agrawal, who is also the director in the company. He's looking after all of the production. He has more than 20 years of experience in running such kind of factories. Okay. So he has the whole control over the all the production processes, all the chemicals, all the purchasing, costing, and everything. I am personally taking care of all the finances and strategical decisions. So all the accounts, costings, and everything are being controlled, are being directly controlled by me. The whole production, customers, purchasing is controlled by Mr. Tarak. And then there's our CFO, Jignesh, who's a well qualified chartered accountant from Ahmedabad itself. So he has good understanding of cost sheets, working out maximum margins, understanding where we are having value losses, how we can improvise on different costs. So all this, we three are mainly the right now who are trying to scale this whole company, and we have our different agendas and different understandings, different roles. This is the main core. Then there's a whole professional team who's taking care of the daily operations of the company. So they are all minimum 10-15 years of experience. Some people who used to previously work with the old management, they are with the company since 10 years, 12 years. So we interviewed all of them again. We took interviews of more than 200 people. Out of that, we kept about 65, and the rest new hirings were done. If we see as on date, also we are having more than 200 team of more than 200 on the executive level, and then there will be more than 2000 on the contract labor side.
Thanks for that detailed answer, Jamin. I think before we get into your closing remarks, I think I'd like to thank everybody who's attended our call today. Thank you for all your questions, and we'll definitely take any more follow-ups. So please feel free to write to us at Dickinson, and we'll be happy to get all your questions answered from the management and from Jamin. So before I hand over to Jamin for your closing remarks, please also answer the short feedback survey that we'll share with you at the end of this call. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time today. And thanks to Jamin as well for sharing your insights and giving us your vision and showing us what the new leadership at the helm of the company has in store for Varvee Global Limited, not only for core fundamental growth in the textile space, but also your vision as an enterprise platform going into the near to medium to longer term as well, as opportunities should arise. So on that note, Jamin, I'll hand over to you for your closing remarks, and then we can conclude for the afternoon. Over to you, Jamin.
So, firstly, I'd like to thank you, Shankini, for such a beautiful introduction. Now, coming to the closing remarks. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining this call. And it was my I feel this as more my responsibility to answer to all my stakeholders, and we will be happy to discuss anything anytime if anyone wants to know in deep. So we are always available, even factory visits, even anyone wants to have a look at the whole unit, everything is always available. And we will be rather more excited in showing them the factory and all the processes which we are doing on the closing side. So the team is very young, they have a very good vision. Along with being young, they have a good experience as well. I personally have more than 12 years of experience in textiles, so we understand how to scale this business. We understand in depth of the fabrics and garments, about the markets and everything. So yeah, I'll be very happy hosting anyone who's looking forward to look at the factory. And we have great vision. Let's see how market reacts and how people support us. So yeah, this is it. Sanjani.
Thanks so much for your time today,
Thank
Jamin.
you.
Thanks to all our participants. Please have a very pleasant afternoon. On
Thank you.
behalf of Varvee Global Limited, we may now disconnect our lines, and thank you.
Thank you.